Mark continues, and they feared exceedingly, and said one to another, what manner of man is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him? So the first words are, and they feared exceedingly. Matthew goes on, but the men marveled, saying, what manner of man is this? And they feared exceedingly. But the men marveled, but they feared exceedingly. Feared and marveled are totally different. Luke says, and they, being afraid, wondered, saying one to another. Okay, that kind of puts them together. Afraid is a bit less strong than feared exceedingly. Wondered is also a bit less strong than marveled, but it does put them together. I might just have to go with that because it's the most neutral between all three, and it combines what all three are saying. Being afraid, wondered. They're afraid and they're, in a way, marveling. Could I put it together otherwise? Instead of being afraid, I could say, and they feared exceedingly and marveled, saying, what manner of man is this? I could do that. And they feared exceedingly, but the men, I could say, but the men feared exceedingly and marveled. Yeah. Luke, and they, being afraid, wondered. I think I can have them fit better between Matthew and Mark to keep all of the intensity instead of watering it down, as Luke seems to do. Being afraid, wondered. That's nowhere near as intense as feared exceedingly or marveled. See, I'll do that. But the men. And they, being afraid. Now, but the men and they. Actually, it doesn't need to have the word but at the beginning because he's already chiding them for having no faith. So to say they're fearing, it's just a continuance of the same behavior. So I think and would fit better here. And they feared. And the men, instead of they, the men. So and from Mark, and also from Luke. So I'll do that. Mark, Luke, and the men, this is Matthew. Instead of marveled, I'm going to have it in the order of Luke, which is they were afraid and wondered. But I'm going to exchange that for feared exceedingly and marveled. More punch to those words. Feared exceedingly, that's Mark only. Feared exceedingly. Mark continues, and said one to another, what manner is this? I have to have that there, and said one to another. And marveled, saying, and marveled. Okay, so I could have the men feared exceedingly and marveled, saying. I could have saying instead of and said. Luke, saying. Okay, so that works better. And, still from Mark, now back to Matthew. Marveled, Matthew and Luke, saying. Now, before the question, I'm going to put from Mark, one to another, Luke, one to another, comma, okay. Saying one to another. Then Matthew goes right into what they're saying. What manner of man is this? Mark, what manner of man is this? Luke, what manner of man is this? Alright, so it's the same between all three. What manner of man is this? Luke ends, or at least in this version, as an exclamation point. For he commands even the winds and the water, and they obey him. Mark, that even the wind and the sea obey him. and they obey him. Okay, so for he commands. I think I like that more. More explanation. Matthew, that even the winds and the sea obey him. That even the wind and the sea. That even the winds. So it's the same between Matthew and Mark, but it's more inclusive in Luke. Instead of just saying, what manner of man is this that this happens? What manner of man is this for he commands? Yeah, more words. So I will put the exclamation point just because I like how it continues in Luke. For he commands even. That even the wind. For he commands. Nope, none of those words are in Mark. For he commands. Nope, that's all Luke. For he commands. Even the winds and the water. Matthew. Even the winds and the sea. Even the winds and the is the same. Mark. Even the wind and the. So they're all the same. Even the winds and the. Luke has winds plural. Mark has wind singular. Matthew has winds plural. So I'll have winds plural. Three commands, now all three. Even the winds. I'll have the S be in orange because it's not in Mark. Gray and Matthew sea obey him. Mark and the sea obey him. Luke, winds and the water, and they obey him. The winds and the sea. I'm going to go with C. That's how Matthew Mark has a majority witness. I guess you could say it's more basic, it's more general to say water in general instead of just sea. But he did just call him the sea, so I'll stick with that. Matthew, Mark, the sea. And then Luke has, and they obey him. Mark, just obey him at the end. Matthew has see, just obey him. So, and they is only Luke. Now all three obey him. Matthew ends with an exclamation point. Mark ends with a question mark. Luke ends with a period. For he commands even the winds and the sea, and they obey him. I could use the exclamation point. I don't think there are exclamation points in the original Greek or question marks, but because I'm just going from this work, I'm going to choose between the question mark, which I'm not going to put because it would make sense if I didn't use the exclamation point at the end of the first statement. What manner of man is this? Because in Mark, it ends in a comma, then goes into the last statement. What manner of man is this that the winds and the sea obey him, with a question mark at the end? So that would make sense. But in Matthew, it has the exact same statement ending in an exclamation point. So I think I'm just going to use two exclamation points. One from Luke, one from Matthew. They are really excited.